Hello, welcome those of you that are coming into this afternoon's webinar. We'll just have a minute to let everyone come in. While you're waiting, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box or put in any questions just in case they're not answered in what we covered today. And if you want to say something about how confident you're feeling about moving over to the new guidance, please do put that in. Maybe 1 for not confident at all and 10 for super confident. Maybe see if you change your feeling at the end. It's always good to see people using the chat box. I won't be watching the chat box whilst during the presentation, but we've got quite a few Jigsaw colleagues on who are going to have a look at the questions and sift through them, and when we can return to those at the end as well. But it's good to see there are some people sort of feeling quite confident. I don't know how many of you have had a look. We're expecting quite a few people today. And I will say it again, because I know not everyone's here yet. We will send out a copy of the slides for you as well at the end. So please don't feel you have to write everything down as we go. We do have quite a lot to get through today, though. So I am going to get started. Yeah, a proper welcome now, more of you are in to our today's webinar, which is about how we've updated Jigsaw PSHE 3 to 11 to the new guidance. So, and looking at really what it is that you need to know. My name is Sarah Brough. I'm the program lead for 3 to 11. You can, we have all the contact details at the end, but basically if you've ever got any questions about the program or what we're doing, if you email the office, it will find its way through to me, and somebody will be able to answer your questions. So let's get going with where we are. So back in July, the DfE released its new guidance for us. And at that point, we had a look at it, and we've already done some webinars covering what was in that guidance. So in July and in September, we had some webinars about what was there. So if you really want to find out what's in the guidance, please do go back and look at those because they are useful. We're not going to go over all of that again today. But where we are today is now we are looking at really what has changed in Jigsaw and how you can implement it. And that means that after today, you hopefully going to feel confident to go away and to review the new content, review what you want to do so that you are ready for implementation in September when it becomes statutory. What we're going to focus on today, though, we're going to look at have a little practical walkthrough about what's changed in the resources, how you can navigate it, and start off with some practical steps of what to do next and how we can support you through it. So hopefully that's what you're expecting. Right, where I want to start from is that schools that are already using Jigsaw PSHE, you are already teaching most of the content that is expected in this 2025 guidance, which is good news. Because we've kept our guidance, because we kept our materials up to date, not only with statutory guidance, but with also research, expectations, and an understanding of what's going on, we are already meeting so much. And this because the guidance has been updated for England today. I was going to say UK, actually a lot of it's applicable to the whole of the UK. There are some things in it though that we have had to change, and actually it's been there are things that we've wanted to do for a long time, and it's given us the impetus to really get that in there. But what you'll see is we've got the same 6 puzzles, we've got the same evidence-informed approach, we've got emotional literacy still built in. So all our updates are enhancing and strengthening. We're not replacing it. So when you do move over, your pupils probably won't notice because it's going to be very similar in many ways, and we're using a lot of what we already know that schools really appreciate and find works well. The changes have been woven in, so therefore they've been woven in right through the programme. What we've got is we've refreshed the content. So in 3 of the puzzles, Being Me in My World, Celebrating Difference in Relationships, the ones with a little circle and the star that you can see there, what's really happened there is when you look is you will see that we've drawn out aspects in a lot of the content there because a lot of it was already meeting what it should be. We've enhanced, for example, you see protected characteristics. We've updated digital literacy in relationships. So those ones have been updated, and the other 3 puzzles have got a lot more change, and I'm going to show you what that means. So in Key Stage 1 and our Key Stage 2 materials, what we've done, I forgot to say, the things I'm going to show you, just a reminder, you don't need to write them all down. You will find on the portal, and I'll show you where in a little while, there is a summary of all of these updates I'm going to talk about. We have drawn together an explanation of how we've done it, but also what you will find is puzzle by puzzle tables of where the new content is that you're going to particularly want to look at. So please don't think, oh, I didn't quite see that, or I'm not quite sure where this is. All of that is there, and I'll show you, we'll show you where that is. So just to let you know, we've drawn all of this together for you. This is just an explanation over the top and a chance for you to ask questions as well. The puzzles with fewer changes, as I said, are Being Me in My World, Celebration, Difference, and Relationships. So Being Me in My World, we've enhanced some of that citizenship content. And democracy, we've drawn it out a little bit further, not because it's in the RSHE guidance specifically. We were already meeting it, but it was a really good chance to do it. And the Celebration Difference, again, we've continued to improve content, but some things that you'll notice that are specifically linked to that guidance is for example, the content on courtesy and manners. So we've drawn those out a little bit more, maybe increased vocabulary and some of the questioning and the way that we structure it to really draw that out. And I said the protected characteristics content as well. So what I would say about the protected characteristics, the RSHE guidance does not say that this is expected to be taught in primary schools. In fact, it says it's clearly expected to be taught in secondary schools. However, we know that we are already teaching about some of the protected characteristics in primary, for example, when we do a lesson about disability. And other protected characteristics as well. And we also know that the new Ofsted guidance is expecting pupils to be able to talk about what they know about protected characteristics. So what we've done is when those things naturally occur, and that is mostly in Celebrating Difference, what we have done is we have drawn out that this is a protected characteristic, that means this is something that is where people are looked out for through the law, and why this is important. But what we haven't done is done a whole lesson on protected characteristics and list them, because some of them we feel are applicable and meet the RSHE guidance for secondary school. So, and again, there's a document that's going to explain that to you as well if you want more detail. And in relationships as well, we're drawing out aspects. So although we haven't got brand new lessons, we know that there's a lot more content, a lot more specific content on digital literacy in the new guidance, both in the health and well-being and in the families and friendship side as well. So what we've done is that we've just really updated those lessons, and you will be able to see that. So just to keep in mind, we have to work really hard to make sure in our guidance that we make sure that we're keeping things age appropriate. So you'll see that we've got some nice updated images. What we're not doing is doing things that we don't want to glamorize or totally normalize some behaviors that aren't what we're looking for our young people. Those ones with a little bit more structural change, again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is an example of what you're going to see in the document with a summary of changes. We've got some lessons where we've restructured them. For example, we've restructured some content in Healthy Me about keeping reducing stress and feeling good about yourself has been moved into dreams and goals. And then, of course, there's that reflection, that link about how if you want to achieve things and you want to do well, and you want to achieve your goals, actually how you feel about yourself and keeping healthy is an important part of that, about your mental well-being as well as your physical well-being. So we've drawn it in there, which has made space in Healthy Me for some other new content. And we've done new focuses in different ways on community gardens. We brought digital spending in. And again, we've added some more finance content into dreams and goals. Not because the RSHE guidance doesn't have specific content on general financial awareness, but we think it's important. But we have tied it in with the financial harms digital harms for financial awareness, which is in the guidance. So we've taken the opportunity to really make those differences. Where you're then going to see more changes is in Healthy Me. One of the very new areas in the guidance was the safety. We've got a whole new section on personal safety. So what we've done is we've created some new lessons, especially in Year 2 and Year 3. And then we've been able to then build on that content and thread it through other existing lessons that we've restructured throughout the rest of Key Stage 2 as well. So you'll see 2 new lessons in Key Stage 1. And again, we're introducing things like the water safety code and much more. The peer influence lessons focusing on things like fire and railway safety. So making sure we're bringing those specific things that are listed in that guidance so that you can feel confident that you've got them covered. So it's been a great opportunity for us to get to work with our graphic designers to get some new pictures as well. I'm particularly fond of Jigsaw Joe's trip with her cousin Jello. But obviously that's just an example of one of the images. There's a whole lesson with lots more in that as well about Jigsaw Joe's trip out so that children can explore that in a nice, safely distanced way. The other thing that you'll notice in relation to safety education is we've introduced a safety star. So it's a star framework. And what it is, as it says there, it's a consistent decision-making tool and it's used across different age groups. When we looked at the safety and the different aspects of safety that we do really want to include, there's so much to include. We've got the water safety rules, there's rail safety rules, there's fire safety, there's all these different safety rules. And there's a lot of consistency between those. There are, of course, differences. And a lot of what's there is a commonality, but it can also be used for our emotional safety as well. So we've developed the safety star so that children can reflect on how they can use this to lead them through all of these different areas. So we're encouraging children to stop. So of course that links in with our pause points as well, practicing to just stop and take a step back. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's happening? Rather than just reacting. So it all ties in as well. And then to think, what do I know? What can I see? What's going on? You know, what is the situation that I'm in? Assess. What information can I have? What are my choices? What could I do at this point? Do I need to get adult help? Do I not need to get adult help? Who could I go to for help? And then they can choose their reaction rather than going straight from being in a situation and reacting straight away. So reflecting what we're looking for with our mindfulness, this also applies to a lot of other situations. Putting in those steps so that children can be supported to make safer decisions. So we have this going throughout lots of our new content. And an example of this, again, I'm not going to go through the whole lesson, is our lesson for Safe or Unsafe for Year 3 with Gino. It's a water safety lesson, but at the beginning, Safety Star is revisited. They've already learnt about it, so they can explore the similarity between different safety rules. We then draw that in and we look at children's experience about water. We want to give you opportunities to really bring your pupils' experience into the classroom. So in that lesson, they can talk about the water near where you live, and so you can adapt that teaching for those children. And also that positive messages, also in the RSHE guidance, is a focus on making sure that we have the benefits of spending time outdoors is reinforced through our teaching. So we want to make sure that children are confident. We don't want to make them worried about being outdoors. So positive messages about being outdoors are really important as well. And then we go on and we link strategies for keeping safe to the water safety rules as well. And we've linked to one of the videos for water safety in that lesson. We then do a whole class exploration of decision-making through a story. So we're scaffolding some of the learning how you might approach these situations before pupils can work in group with different scenarios and apply all of that. Then the other thing you'll notice a lot through what we've done is we're really working on linking our physical the physical feelings and the emotional feelings that we have and understand there's often a link between those. So that's something that you'll see throughout. So it's just a bit of an example of what's going on through the program. And that safety star is actually used a lot in Healthy Me, but in other places as well. Changing Me is another place where we've got quite a few changes. So you may have noticed that the guidance very specifically recommended that still the primary schools teach sex education, but they don't teach it before Year 5. So of course, it's still not statutory, but it's recommended to be taught from Year 5. So we've taken it out of Year 4. If schools really want to teach it in Year 4, they still can, but actually it's left some space for us to do some other things. So it now starts in Year 5. And we've also, because of the clarity of the guidance, it's been much easier for us to make it clearer to have a clear distinction between sex education and puberty lessons, which I know a lot of you'll be really pleased to hear, because sometimes we had quite a lot of blue text for you to have a look at. We still need you to look at all the puberty content and check it, of course, but we have reduced that overlap between what is sex education and what's puberty education. Because we've removed this first sex education lesson from Year 4, we've had a gentler approach into puberty. So we've restructured the Year 3 lessons So that's been a real benefit of what we've been able to do. And we've also done a little bit of updating of the graphics in some of the puberty lessons. So please go and have a look at these. Don't worry, because I know a lot of you really like them. The animations are still the same, but we've just updated them a little bit, and we think that they'll be a bit clearer and a bit more useful for you in the classroom. Moving of those has allowed us to put more content in on personal hygiene. So we're really pleased about that as well. So you'll see that in year 3. There's still more content lower down as well in Key Stage 1, but we've got a whole new lesson in year 3, which is then built on for the rest of Key Stage 2 as well. And a new lesson on Unique Me in ages 8 to 9, which we're quite pleased about as well. So again, when you look at that overview document, you will see this is on from lower Key Stage 2, where we've restructured, where we've put in a new lesson, and you can see some summaries of what's happened there for you to go and have a look at. And I mentioned that Unique Me lesson we've got, I think it's year 4, looking at different things that influence us, the things in our control, the things outside of our control, and the choices that we make that have an impact on our self-image and our identity. So again, lots of nice excuses for some new images from Jerrycat. And again, upper Key Stage 2, the same thing. We show you in that document where we've made those changes. Sometimes we might just renamed a lesson because it fits better. But here's an example. Again, I'm not going to go through in a lot of detail. Some of them we've just slightly changed the learning intentions, but we've made it clear on that overview document where that is. But this is an example where in this lesson, we've restructured a bit, and it means that we've managed to put much clearer information about puberty and keeping clean, building on that previous learning, and some new images as well. And we've linked it to the NHS, for example, the NHS 5 Steps to Wellbeing too. Lots of nice pupil-centred work where children get a chance to explore what's going on. The only other thing I'd just really like to say about what's in the content as well that's new throughout is our new images of where to go for help. So you'll see a lot more slides built in about where to go for help in different puzzles. This is one from the year 6 materials. And what we really would encourage you to do is to go in and as a minimum in your notes where you make those changes on your account as program lead, as the PSHE lead, you can go in and maybe list some of the aspects in school, where in your school or where in your school community could pupils go for help. And you could change the images on the slide. You could put images of people in your local community and change what's on there. So have a look out for those, and you can sort of then repeat that and have those adaptations through your own account. So across the program, as I said, we've got health protection has been updated, things like vaccinations and viruses and sun safety. A lot of that has been integrated much better throughout. Nicotine pouches was new in the guidance, so we've got those in there as well. Personal hygiene, as I already mentioned. The safeguarding, the looking for support, identifying trusted adults, not just one, more than one. That's really been drawn out further as well. And again, I already talked about that protected characteristics content too. So what else have we got? Oh, very exciting. So it went online today, our new emotional literacy materials. So those of you using Jigsaw PSHE, you know that emotional literacy is a key part of what we do. Every lesson having one learning intention, which is sort of knowledge-based, and one which is social and emotional learning, and threading lots of opportunities to explore that throughout. So we've obviously paid attention to that with the update, but we know that some schools would like to do more. So what we've done is we've developed some new materials, and this refers to the teacher guidance. We've got with specific teacher guidance for different stages, so different phases, Key Stage 1, lower Key Stage 2, and upper Key Stage 2. We've mapped out all the progressive emotional vocabulary linked to the different puzzles with the core and the complex emotions as well. And we've got, I'll just show you a quick example in a minute. We've got the feelings and intensity scale, which can be used by teachers and by children, emotion coaching, that STAR framework is there, and additional resources for display. So that's just images of some of the things that you're going to see when you go and have a look at that. It's in the Jigsaw Plus area. We've got the feeling scale, examples of sentence starters, and there's materials that you can print off and have on a lanyard to support with emotion coaching as well. So you can use those to enhance as much as you feel is as you need to, because we know lots of schools have got other things going on as well, but this should really help support that. If you haven't got anything else going on, you may just want to pick these up and use them alongside to enhance. So we've got core emotions, and then it building into complex emotions. And we've got this overall map of the vocabulary progression, which for you as Jigsaw leads will find really helpful, showing how that language is built throughout the program as well. And there's some guidance there as well. And we're going to run another webinar in the summer term explaining how you can use that. So you may just want to have a look at the moment, start thinking about how you might want to use it. But please do go and have a look at that, because that went online today. So it's kind of a bit of a top line summary. As I said, you're going to want to go away and have a look at some of this, but let's just look at where everything is. The lesson plans, your current lesson plans, so the materials for 25-26, so the ones you started using in September before we had any of the updates ready, they remain on the top line. I'm sure you've already seen that. And they will definitely stay there, because a lot of you will be using those resources possibly till the end of this academic year. And please do keep using them until you have had time to consider what's in those materials and to make those changes. Then below, we've got if all the new materials have the 2026 sash on them, and you will also see on the left there, we've got the updated puzzle map for 26 and the class teacher prep for 26, because they are different. So again, make sure that everyone in school knows which materials that you are using. So all the new materials are there now. We've then developed, to help you, a new Get Ready for September 2026 section, the materials section. I'm hoping most of you have seen it, but if you haven't, where you can see all the different year groups there, if you look underneath where that big black circle is, there is a whole section, and all the documents I'm going to talk about, apart from the parent ones, are already there, with the emotional literacy stuff in Jigsaw Plus. So everything is everything I'm going to show you now, I'll tell you where each of them are. So in that Get Ready for September 2026, we've got detailed puzzle maps. We've updated the puzzle maps, but to help you through this process, we've actually put a lot more information on them. So what you will see is there is a description, just an overall description of every lesson, as well as the vocabulary, where it links to the new guidance, the learning intentions. And we've also done a little summary of what we've updated in that lesson. And sometimes it might just be explaining that we've changed some language. Sometimes it will say new lesson, but that is there for you. So that's quite detailed. That's quite detailed overview for each puzzle. And it might be useful for class teachers if they always teach the same class to have access for those, but you can use those how you want to. We've also got the new snapshot in that Get Ready for 2026 section. Again, that's something that you can share with parents. And then we've also done, you may recognize, if you look at that one on the bottom right, a tick, almost like a tick list showing exactly, with a list of all the standards for each year group, showing which lessons it's met in for each year group. That's quite a big, quite detailed document. So we've also produced a slightly more guided version for you. So this one, you will see it's got the standard text. What that means by standard text is the text from the standard, from the DFE. And then we've split it into key stages. So you can see, okay, if I go in a bit more detail here, families and people who care for me, you can see the key stage 1, lower key stage 2, and upper key stage 2. And you can see that the main coverage of that first one comes in key stage 1 and lower key stage 2, but then there's supporting content, supporting coverage in other areas. It's not exhaustive. With a spiral curriculum, it is quite tricky tracking everything about when children have an opportunity to talk about their feelings, when it is so threaded through. So yes, so all of that is there. And I just saw something else about the RSHE curriculum mapping being updated, and this is definitely part of it. So as well as those RSHE mapping documents, you'll also find in that Get Ready for September 2026, we've also started updating some of the other documents which we know people ask for a lot of the time. So we're trying to prioritize by the things that we know most people want and ask for. So we've got the digital literacy. We produced there was a lot of requests for that. We've got one for the current 24-25 materials. We've produced a new one because we know that digital literacy is something that has been updated quite a lot, so that maps where all the new content is. One thing you'll notice on these documents is they look different. We've got some new branding. So what we've done to help you know which are the old and which are the new documents is that the new documents are on this, have this different new branding on them. So you should be able to see quite quickly which ones are new and old. And again, the protected characteristics and offset, that's something else we get a lot of questions about. So we've updated that document, and you can see there, we've got really specific mapping in there as well, showing you where things are updated. This bit isn't in the Get Ready September 2026. This bit is in the parent presentation, the parent carer area. So that's in the Getting Started section. We've updated the parent presentation for you as well. There are two versions. Most schools will use the one which includes sex education, because we know most of our Jigsaw schools do choose to teach sex education. And there's also a version which, if you're not teaching sex education, but just like the lessons, you can make changes to the plans. You can put new text on the slides or put your own images on the slides, just like in the lessons. So it's designed for a live parent care, a live or online parent care evening, or if you invite parents into school. We've also, if you look at that page I've got up there, you'll see on the right there, there's a screenshot. We've also recorded for you an example of what it might look like. So that's not designed for you to just play to parents, because it will say things on it like, in your school, you may want to think about saying this or that. But it's just a helpful way for you to think about how this might sound, how you might want to say things, and how you might want to present things. So that's pre-recorded for you to have a look at for whoever does the presentation. Also in that area as well, again, it's very clear 2026 content. There's a new there's an updated puberty leaflet, which I think went online today. If not, it'll go online very soon in the next 24 hours. And there's the updated snapshot that I mentioned is there as well, which you can share. And just to say, the parent access, for those of you using it, the parents accessing the content, when you're ready to move over, parents looking at the content now can see, just like you can, the old and the new content. So let them know which content you're following. But some of you, I think, may well decide that you're ready to move over in the summer term, you will be able to straight away share that new content with parents as well. And coming soon, we've got an additional guidance leaflet about talking to children about sex education as well. So you can either use this, the puberty one, or the puberty and sex education. That again is something which is in the DFE guidance, is an expectation that you offer support for that. And the parent teacher knowledge organisers will be coming soon as well. So there's a lot of new stuff there. It's all go. How do we get there? How do we get from all of these materials to the next bit, which is your policy review and getting it all ready? We are going to be running some more webinars about reviewing your policy, about consultation for you. But some of you I know are really keen. So we're just going through a couple of steps with you. I'm going to go through some of these steps now. But before we look at those, I just want to show you this. If you go onto the DFE website and to look at the guidance, which I'm sure you're all doing all the time, because who doesn't love looking through DFE guidance? It is there. But you'll notice they've actually made it really clear. At the top, you can see that's the new guidance, the 2025 guidance. It says for introduction, 1st of September 2026. And in that guidance, it does say that schools that are ready to move to that new guidance earlier can. But underneath, if you look at how they've worded it, the 2019 guidance that is still current, they've really clearly said it's for teaching until 31st of August. You can carry on teaching with the current materials, with what you're doing now, until the 31st of August. Well, hopefully you'll be on holiday in August, but until the end of this academic year. So that is all there for you. You don't need to move over until you are ready. So we really recommend you take the time. So you've got time to do these things. Again, I've got a document that takes you step by step through all of this. We want you to start by reviewing where you are. Look at we've got a policy audit checklist. Look at your current policy and see how close you are. Look at, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You'll have spent time doing that policy, and think about what worked, what didn't work when doing that with your engagement. Where are your strengths and where are the gaps? And is there everything that you need? What is it that you really are going to need to change? Then you can meet with staff and governors. We recommend that you do this before you do your wider consultation, so that you all have a shared understanding about what statutory changes are, what language you're using, what your definition of sex education is. All of those things are in place so that you can make sure that you're really clear throughout your consultation about what you mean by different things. I'm not saying you're not going to change. You may listen to things and change your ideas, but it's just making sure that you're all you all got the shared understanding, and also identifying staff training needs and confidence levels. Even if actually everyone's kind of okay, you may think, you know what, this is a really good time for refresh. Then you can use that to draft and update your policy. And use what you've got as a starting point, but we've got a new policy template for you as well in that Get Ready for 2026. So you can use that. There's a lot in there. We've had a lot of people asking if we're going to be doing a C of E version or a version for Catholic schools. We haven't got one at the moment, but actually, I think what's there is definitely, especially if you've got an existing one, is definitely enough for you to get started with if you want to get started with that now. And then again, it's a really good, you've got a really good position to use that policy as a start for engaging with parents, carers, and deciding what it is, how you can draw pupils in as well. And remember, some of what you use to inform that with pupil and parent engagement can be informed by what you've done last term or the term before and the conversations you've been having. But again, we'll do a webinar on that coming up. But make sure you've got a clear deadline and that you're available for conversation. So all of these things are things that you're going to want to do. And then you can finalize it, get your governor approval and communicate it, and then you're ready, and then you can switch to the new materials. Now, I know I've just gone through that like it's just really straightforward, but again, we will help you through that. But those are what we see as sort of the main steps that you need to do. So again, supporting materials for that, as I said, in our Get Ready for September 2026, you'll find there is a guide to policy review and consultation, and there's like an audit checklist that goes with it as well. So that hopefully those are really useful tools for you to use and share. There is also the PSHE policy template. And we've also updated our what do schools have to teach for RSHE to clarify what the statutory expectations are. So a lot of you, I imagine, Jigsaw leads, you probably might be quite aware of that, but that might be very useful for you to share with governors or SLT as well. I'm assuming not everyone's going to want to use all of this, but we're hoping that there's a lot there that you can get going and using. As I said, you've got everything you need to get started. We are still developing more content and more support. So there are some things that aren't quite ready yet. Our new Jigsaw journeys and combined and pupil knowledge organisers, we are working on those, as we speak. Our parent teacher knowledge organisers, the progression of skills document and the summative assessment statements, which I think are going up today. We need to update the vocabulary lists. So all of these things are coming. We are also developing something new, which is a safeguarding map. So we're going to be creating for you a map of all the safeguarding topics. So you'll be able to really clearly show how Jigsaw PSHE contributes to that safeguarding in your school as well. And very exciting in quality assurance stages at the moment are some new safety themed assemblies. We have got everything we need in the content for you to be compliant, but we think that safety is a really great place to have some additional whole school assemblies that can be used to reinforce some of those messages around safety. So those are coming as well. As I said, we've got more coming. There's a lot of information here. So we've got some webinars that are going to break some of this down for those of you who feel you'd like a little bit more support. So in March, we've got some policy writing, some Ofsted, engaging parents webinars. And also starting in March is a series of 3. I don't know how many of you attended in the past, what we call our RSE webinars, but actually it's more of an RSHE mini webinars that might be more suitable for all teachers in the school to come to. So one about teaching relationships education and puberty, and the one about puberty and one about human reproduction. So those are in advance of teaching relationships and changing me in the summer term, but those will be linked to the new materials. If you're still using the old materials, there are some from last year on the portal as well. So, but again, if you've got any questions, just let us know. I want to leave some time for questions. So 3 takeaways. I know I've talked a lot, so I can stop in a minute. If you're using Jigsaw PSHE, you are so much closer than you think. You are meeting so much of the new requirements. And we really hope that the way we've done the changes means that it should be a very smooth move from meeting from the old materials to the new materials, because there's a lot of similarity. Don't rush. You just take time to step by step look at what's there, decide what needs doing, and update your policy to make sure that it really works for you and that it's a worthwhile process as well. And the last thing is, everything you need to get started is ready. I know I've just said there's new things coming, but there's everything that you need to get going really is there. And if you've got any questions, you can always just get in touch. And remember, it's not just about the RSHE standards. things, we're still doing things like we're still partnering with World Book Day this year. We've got our new materials up online. There's some really exciting stuff there, and you can see the previous 2 years worth as well. So all of that is there too. Things like our RSPB Big Bird Watch. If you haven't seen that, that's on the main Jigsaw Education Group website. So where you go to log in for webinars on that website, it's a really nice downloadable resource because you've still got time. Some of you may not have started doing that yet. So all of those things are still going on. All of those things that are really important, the things that we want to do. We've really enjoyed creating some new resources. So try and remember all that good stuff as well, rather than just thinking about guidance. And I'm going to leave that up on the screen for you. But I think now I'm hoping that hello Eleni, has been going through some of the questions. And I haven't put a feedback slide up there. I've just realised
No, thanks so much, Sarah. There was obviously a huge amount packed into 30 minutes there. So we very much appreciate that you may want to go back through these slides, which we will share with you after the webinar, along with the recording as well. And also, as Sarah mentioned, there are all sorts of supporting documents on the portal, which you can find on like the main, like the homepage. Once you've clicked through clicked on the program, there's a get ready for 2026 September 2026 like tab, and all of the key documents are linked in there. So if you're trying to find anything, then you can
excuse the
find it
flicking. I'm
there.
getting back to show
I
it.
know I'm like, whoa.
Sorry.
But yeah, so very much appreciate. We obviously are aware of how valuable your time is, so we're trying to really maximise the kind of 45 minutes that we've got with you all. Hence the speed. So there are quite a few questions, Sarah. So I think, yeah, very brief answers to make sure we get through them all. When is the Safety Start introduced in the scheme?
I think it's introduced in year 2, so ages 6 to 7.
And in a particular puzzle, do you know?
I think it's introduced in Healthy Me. I think this is off the top of my head.
Yeah, testing
Question.
you now.
Yeah, you really are testing me.
Okay, thank
But
you.
it's also in the new additional emotional literacy resources as well.
Someone was asking about having either this PowerPoint or a version of this PowerPoint to use with their own staff. I said it was on the way.
Yeah, I meant to mention that. So much to mention. Yes, we know that that's something that a lot of people would like. So we will be providing that.
Yeah, and as I put in the chat, that keep an eye out on the What's New email. So everyone should be receiving a What's New email, which comes out every month, which highlights the kind of the new things, obviously, that have come into the program. So just make sure that you're signed up to that. If you're not receiving that, I would check your junk for one thing, and just click on the kind of this is a trusted source or whatever. If it's not there, then contact school support at jigsaweducationgroup.com and they will make sure that you're added to that list. Fabulous. Quite a few questions about parents, some of which may have been answered because obviously you came on to that towards the end, but
Go for it.
how often do we need to consult parents about RSE?
Really, the guidance is that it should be an ongoing. It's parental engagement. There was a change a couple of years ago in the tone from consulting to engagement. I think every time you update your policy, absolutely, you need to let parents know and invite their opinions. How you do that very much varies from school to school. There isn't one way of doing it. But if you make changes to the program, if you're making changes to what you teach, you do need to inform parents. You do need to engage with parents about that. So with the change in guidance, everyone is going to need to engage with parents.
Okay, so that answers another question, which is about do we need to reconsult with parents? The answer is yes, rather than just informing them of the changes.
Yeah, I mean, engagement is meant to be an ongoing listening, not just. I mean, there will be an element of informing. We have to make these changes. This has happened, but it's meant to be an ongoing thing where schools are continuously listening to parents and taking on board what they're saying and inviting them. And we would encourage that all through the year, just with your ongoing communications across all the topics. It doesn't always have to be as formal.
And do we have a letter template for PEP to give parents regarding the changes?
Not yet. There is a new document if you go to the parent section about what do primary schools have to teach for RSHE. So that will help towards that. It explains what has to be taught and it refers to the new guidance.
And someone asking who I have directed to school support for some support, help with this, but like around how our parent access works.
Yes, that's probably best to go via school support. There is yeah, I think that's probably because quite a lot of people know about that, and that probably best for me to. It's easiest to explain by bringing it up on screen and showing it and going through it step by step. So I think with time, I won't go through that now, but it's open for all Jigsaw schools who wish to use it. But yeah, so I'll ask school support for some help on that one.
How do we know what we can share with parents?
Again, we are rebuilding that area. So if you go to the parent carer section, we are building there's a section there about what can go on your public website, what can go between a password protected section as well. And we are building a 2026 section of those up for you. What I would say, and you'll notice we put there, is at the moment, because what we do know is that sometimes parents will see something on one website of one school and assume that it's exactly the same for their school. And because we're going to have some schools who are using the 24-25 materials and some who are using the new materials for 26, there's going to be differences in what different schools are doing. So we would ask that if you are using the new materials and you are going to share any of our new parent materials, that for the moment, you keep them behind a password protected site for parents, or just email them out to your parents. But we have written that on there. So we've got a new section, the parent carers, for on your public website, and a new section for behind password protected. And it does explain it there, and we will continue adding to it. But if in doubt, just ask.
Yeah, and as you've already said, the parent presentation and a modelled example of that are already available on the portal as well. I think you've answered the question as it went on about when you can start using the lessons. Like, it was really clear you can start using them as soon as you are ready, but also there is no rush or need to do so. So take the time to review your policy. You know, look at the template policy that's available there to help you with that. It's all on the portal, along with some guidance around how to go about consulting with the policy as well. Will there be new weekly celebrations?
Not at the moment. We've actually, when updating the content, we did make sure that we didn't mess up the weekly celebrations, as it were, when we moved lessons around. And some we've actually found we fitted some of the lessons better to the weekly celebrations than before. It is something I would like to look at, but we've just had to be really, really focusing on updating the materials to the new guidance. That has had to be our main focus. But I can see that that's been mentioned, and it's on our list.
Similar to that, will the assemblies be updated?
Well, the assemblies are being updated. So there's a whole new set of assemblies that's going online even now. So I know that there's a new set of assembly for Dreams and Goals that's gone up. The new one set for Healthy Me has just gone up. So we're on our third year of new assemblies going up right now. So
and they've all got brand new songs in them as well.
Yeah, they've got exactly, yes, with the new songs as well. So yes, that's all. Yes, so they are being updated now. We haven't got a new set coming for next year, so we're going to have a three-year cycle, but we haven't got a new set right now for next year because we've got the third set going up now.
But as you said earlier, there will be some specific assemblies that
Yes.
support the new RSHE guidance, though
Yeah, the new
not
safety assemblies as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. We had a question about are the changes applicable to Wales as well as England? And Becky posted a link to the specific webinar about how this does apply to RSE in Wales. But I didn't know if you wanted to just briefly touch on that.
Yeah, so we've been waiting, you know, for example, when the new Welsh guidance came out, it seems very long time ago, we actually updated all of the content. It was a great opportunity to update it and for everyone. And again, this is the same. So it's new RSHE guidance for England, but all the changes we've made, we have been making with other countries in the UK in mind as well. So everything that's in there enhances for Welsh schools. It's not going against any of the Welsh guidance. And as I said, because we waited for the guidance, some of this is just been a great opportunity to make updates that suit all schools. So there is more support coming for Welsh schools and mapping. And I know that we've got a team really working hard to map and make sure that it's all supported as well. So there's more coming on that.
Absolutely, yes. Adam is working very hard on that as we speak. With the emotional literacy resources, you said that they are on the portal as of today.
Yes,
Um, where can people find those?
they are in Jigsaw Plus. And they're in the RSHE section. And we've got some more content coming as well, because we thought that was probably the best place to put it, although it goes across different areas as well. So go and have a look there.
Okie doke.
And we are going to link to them from each puzzle as well, from the class teacher prep and from the puzzles. So they should be quite easy to find.
Yeah, it is. They will be linked into every puzzle, won't they? It's just that we wanted to make sure they're available for now, but they will be coming and be highlighted more and easily found. You mentioned the knowledge organisers are being updated as we speak, so they are coming. So someone asked about that. Do we stop using PSHE and start using RSHE when we use this new content
It's an
framework?
excellent question. And we talk about it every so often, but RSHE is still not as broad as PSHE. So I mentioned financial education. I mentioned, again, citizenship isn't, some people consider it part of PSHE, some don't, but there are aspects of PSHE that are not covered in the RSHE. So it's still considered a broader term. You'll notice places like the PSHE Association are not limiting on that. So at the moment, it's up to you. We still feel that we are a PSHE program, not an RSHE program. We're PSHE including RSHE. What you actually want to call it in schools, I don't think the actual name matters as long as everybody is clear about what it means and understand it. I don't want to get too caught up on that. But things like careers and ambition, all of those types of things, they're not RSHE, but they are PSHE. So
Yeah, and I mean, we would certainly advocate, or I certainly advocate for maintaining PSHE for those reasons. It's broader than RSHE.
yeah,
And if we're thinking about personal development in the broader sense, and
yeah,
certainly if we look at the new Ofsted framework, there is a distinction there if we look between the difference
yeah,
between the bandings. PSHE is kind of uh, slightly higher valued in terms of that
yeah,
framework anyway. So I would definitely be continuing to focus on PSHE, but the RSHE is a key statutory framework that
yeah.
kind of underpins that wider PSHE curriculum.
And I think it's just that thing. It's statutory to consult, to engage with parents on RSHE, actually, and it's statutory then to publish the relationships and sex education. But actually, we would recommend, that wider approach to all of it. And some people call it health and well-being, but I think it's being open and clear and setting it in context is part of that whole school approach.
Some people were saying that I'm just gonna address, said that they can't see the new lessons. Some have seen it and then it's disappeared, which is very odd. I've not heard of that, but I know a
No, I
couple of
haven't.
people have said that that's the case. So please do just contact school support at
Yeah,
jigsaweducationgroup.com about
we
that
want
because
to know about that.
that shouldn't be happening. So yeah, I'm not sure what has happened there. The only thing I can think is we recently launched an international version of the program. So if you have ended up with the um, the icon for that, if you click through on that, then that would only have the older content. But that's the only thing that I can think has happened there. We've talked about all of the help that's available with policies, including the template and guidance already. Question about when do puberty lessons start?
So it depends slightly what you consider by puberty. In the statutory guidance, it talks about life cycles. So, on a really basic level, that's going right back to early years. And I did just see on mention that people are thinking we haven't updated the early years materials
That's my
at the
next
moment
question.
in
Yeah.
relation to this, because we updated those with new guidance. So this is very much focusing on the Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 age groups. So it goes back to there. But I would say that the specific puberty content still starts in year 3, but it's gentler than it was before.
Yeah, so just to be clear, just to recap on that. So EYFS has not been updated as part of this. That's obviously covered separately under other guidance. So it's not that we haven't updated it, it's that it doesn't need to be updated in relation to this new the
It
new
was
RSHE guidance.
it was updated last year.
Yeah. Um, when should people share with staff these new changes?
When you're ready,
Whenever
really,
they want. Yeah.
is what I say. I know there are some schools that have been very, very keen to get started with making changes and wanting to use new materials and updating their policy, and have started in January and have had staff meetings planned in. But some schools will decide they want to do that over the summer term, and get ready for September. So it's having a look at your capacity, probably both personally and professionally. I imagine most people here are going to be the PSHE leads, as to when you can fit that in, when you can find staff meeting time. Well,
Yeah, I think that's clear. Yeah, we've got a lot more questions, Sarah, so I'm just going to power on.
That's fine. And if people want to leave, please do. And I've got the screen ready if you want me to screen share to show again where the getting started section is, Eleni.
Okay, so you mentioned about making more of protected characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Have you or are you going to do the same for FBV?
Fundamental British values. We have drawn out more. I said in Being Me in My World, we've drawn out a little bit more on democracy. We haven't drawn out specifically fundamental British values as such. Part of the reason is again, it's going across different countries in across the UK. But what you will find, again, if you haven't seen it in Jigsaw Plus, if it's any help, there is a set of assemblies and ideas of ways of democracy assemblies that really do draw that out quite a bit, so that you can use that to support that. Because I know it's something that needs to go across all curriculum areas. So we have a lot that is relevant. And obviously, you can update some of your slides if you want to in the notes and add some more content. And we've got that extra stuff in Jigsaw Plus.
And will we be providing a kind of a mapping type information document about how the new content links to British values?
Yes, I will add it to my list. That not in the case of we weren't going to, but I'm not sure. I have a very long list. It may well already be on there. It's not something I'm going to be doing in the next month, I would say.
Yeah, it's a longer term.
Partly because I think we already have one on the old program, because we haven't changed that much in relation to that. It's probably still current.
Yeah, it just needs a bit of a just review. How do I find the lessons like the garden birdwatch?
Oh, those I haven't got that screen up. So that's on the main Jigsaw site. Have you got that up, Eleni, to share?
No, but it's on if you go to jigsawedukationgroup.com and go to the Knowledge Hub, you can search for it there. It's just a downloadable PDF that you can get from so not on the portal, but on the main Jigsaw website. Will the updated puzzle maps be further updated going forward, like the lesson plans might, or are these set like I imagine the snapshot is? The puzzle maps, are they now set? And the lessons are set.
They are set. What I can't say is, with 50, 100 rounds of quality assurance, we do spot things sometimes, and you spot things. And actually, it's really helpful when people come up with ideas and you could do this. So there may be small tweaks or spelling errors. I put my hands up to, often they're typing things. So, but generally they are set, yes.
Yeah, we're not like the lessons are set, the snapshots are set, the puzzle maps are set. Like it's not an ongoing process of design here. Like this is it now. But as Sarah said, if any of you notice something, then please do feedback. And there may be small tweaks, but just around refinement. We're not planning on any kind of additional changes.
And also just why don't we also, as you know, we check through the year, there may be further changes that come out. You know, there's a lot of talk about changes of, of phones and social media. You know, so if there's a change in the law, we will need to change our lessons to reflect that. Those types of things will, that continuing thing will
Yeah, I
and
mean,
we
we're
will let you
always
know.
updating, of
Yeah,
course,
that's what I'm
but I
saying is
mean,
we're
in
always
terms of
updating.
preparing for September,
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, yeah, review what is there and you're safe in that,
yeah.
essentially. We've already answered the question about changes, no changes for EYFS. Um, Citizenship, um, with citizenship becoming statutory in the future, will Jigsaw need updating again to ensure it is fully incorporated? I can take that one. I'd just
Yeah.
say that we do have already we have some citizenship content within Jigsaw Plus, and obviously there's a lot of crossover anyway, a lot of citizenship content in the program
Yeah, especially being me and my world.
already. But we will be keeping a really close eye on the developments around citizenship, and um, and then review as we go, like what does that look like for Jigsaw PSHE? Is there more that we can bring into the main program to support you all with that, or will it have to be kind of an additional extra? We don't know what is going to be in that framework
And
yet, so
I think you'll see in dreams and goals, I think there's a little bit more there's a little bit more citizenship orientated feel to it as well now, in just in our updates. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
When are the knowledge organisers for Changing Me going to be ready?
For the new Changing Me, uh, we are when they are in the process of being done
Yeah.
at the moment, so they will definitely be done by the beginning of March.
Um, is it statutory to have a separate RSE and PSHE policy?
No, you can have it's statutory to publish your RSE on the website, but it can be part of a PSHE policy. And we recommend this because I don't having them separate, they don't necessarily make sense. So we would recommend that you embed your RSE and your RSHE into your wider PSHE policy, but they don't have to be separate.
Again, a question I can take. Yeah, so all of these resources, the updated resources, are only available online through our online portal. We no longer produce any paper resources, as we did a few years ago. The benefit of that is, like we said, we can continually update in response to a ever-changing environment and the needs of children across the country, and beyond. Um, Oh, there's just a lovely comment there. I'm not knowing that was just to host some panelists. Very nice. Thank you to whoever shared that. Sorry, we have previously worked with Jigsaw in building a small schools progression for very mixed ages, so like
Mm.
composite classes. Is it likely that the new material can be mapped to this easily? Thanks, Anya, for your question.
Yeah, yeah, that is great. Yes, so I know that we've got because we've kept to very much the same structure, we don't see that there will be a lot of difference, but that is higher up on the list of something that I need to look about teaching to mixed age classes and small schools. And what hasn't changed is that I know that sometimes people want something they can teach to year 3 and year 6. There are some topics that are just not appropriate to teach to groups with that range of ages in, and that's just the nature of the curriculum area, I'm afraid. But it still will work absolutely on the 2-year cycle in the same way as it did previously, with some looking at puberty and drug education, but otherwise it will still work very much in that same way. As I said, we haven't moved that much around, but we will be looking at that again just to double check that for you. But I'm afraid we haven't quite managed that one yet.
Um, how do I ensure that my school is getting the most up-to-date Jigsaw? Yes, it does update automatically. So when you log on to the portal, like we've said, you should be able to see everything that we've talked about today. It should be there for you to use and access. If anything is not, like some people have indicated, please get in touch with school support at jigsaweducationgroup.com. Can the engagement be in writing as opposed to in person? I presume that's parental engagement.
Yes, I think what you would be asked if somebody were to, I think one of the questions that, well, questions you should ask yourself really is what is the best way to engage with your parents and carers? So, if it is the case that you know from experience that this is how most of your parents and carers prefer to communicate and it's the most efficient, then great. But actually, there are all sorts of different ways of doing it. I said we will have a webinar on that, but I know, I've worked with schools where they've taken the table out into the playground at the end of the day and they've spoken to people face to face that way, and they've engaged with those harder to reach parents that way. So there are all sorts of different things that you can do.
Great. Hopefully that answers Claudia's question as well. Um, what will it look like for a first school? We only go up to year 4. I mean, the same as it.
Yes, there won't be any sex education, so that's straightforward. I mean, the same for we have infant schools as well. So what is different if you're at first school is that the statutory guidance is for the end of primary school. It's not done by key stages. It's not done by year groups. But you're still obviously going to want to make sure that the children, when they leave you at year 4, are prepared for what they're going to learn at a middle school. So
in terms of, so someone's asked about all of the documents, PowerPoints, etc. It's all linked on that one tab on the portal that we said. So the Get Ready for September 2026 portal, you can find everything on the portal. You can find everything you need there. Dates for the next webinars. If you're looking to use one for your staff, like a staff meeting, it might be best to use the recording of this one, which will be sent, to be honest, because I think the future webinars are more to do with very specific topics, really, that are probably more around, and unless you want to, there's obviously the ones around the Changing Me topics, teaching about puberty, etc. But
just going to show you. So if you want to see where they are, and I saw some people asking for the dates on them. So can you see that? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
If you go to, this is the Jigsaw Education Group website, and you go to the Knowledge Hub and upcoming webinars, and you can go down and you can see quite a few of those are already on there.
There's also your network meeting you can.
And the network meeting coming up as well. So you'll see your RE ones, but if you scroll down, you'll be able to start seeing them coming up. So there's a network meeting, view. So but that's where you find all of those. I won't go through them all, but that's
and you can also find the old webinars by going to the on demand.
Yeah. So if you click on demand, it will show you some of the old ones, the changes as well. And people were asking about the resources, the RSPB stuff. It's all on here as well. So we have other things on there as well. So that's just to say that that's all there. And I can show people where. Should I quickly, while we're here, just show where the getting ready is? So here's the Jigsaw. This is my login, so I can see this. You'll be able to see the resources that your school have. I've got up to the P7 for Scotland, in case you're wondering why you haven't got Jello. But you'll see here you've got this Get Ready for September 2026. If you're a Welsh school, there's a little bit of news about explanation for Wales underneath there. If you click on here, again, we've sort of been adding quite a lot recently. Everything that went up in December is here. So you've got the puzzle overviews, the RSHE mapping, the draft policy template, and it just explains where the parent presentation meetings in the parent carer area, and the snapshot overview, what you need to do. But you'll see, coming in January, we've started filling that. There's a couple of things still to go up. It's not quite the end of January yet, but you can see that changes to PSHE document. So if you click on it, the digital literacy, the guide to policy review, it's all there.
Can you show that
yeah. So it's very small. Sorry, I'll make it a bit bigger. So the summary of updates, we've got, if I just show one page rather than hundreds of them, that would be more helpful. So it's got an overview of what the changes are, where to find it. And then as you go through, so it's like health protection and prevention, personal hygiene. So it explains what the main changes are. And then it goes down to the individual puzzles and where the actual changes are in each puzzle. So it's really a step-by-step through. So hopefully there's enough there to help people.
Can you just go back to the other one, just highlight the parent? There's another question about the parents' presentation.
So there's some parent stuff there, but if you want to find all of the parents' content, and going back up to the top of the page, you go to the Getting Started section, the parents and carers. and you will see we've got RSHE 2026 here. So again, as I mentioned, the public documents 2026 is here, and your own password protected pages. Anything with 2026 is going to have the new content. But if you come onto here, we've got the two presentations that open up like the slideshows, like you would exactly like you would for a lesson, and you can click through and look at them like a lesson and make those changes like you do. And if you want to watch the pre-recorded one, it's here. You just literally press play and open it up. It can be viewed full screen, so it's all there for you.
So that's there just as a kind of a modeled example of to help you prepare really see how someone else would
Yeah.
Deliver that presentation. Great. When will you update the Jigsaw PSHE progression map?
In progress. It's being done alongside the parent teacher knowledge organisers because the two are very much intertwined. So we are doing the process of doing them at the moment.
Has the Church of England have any differences between what you are providing compared to their recommendations?
Unless something's come out in the last week or two, we're slightly waiting to see whether any faith groups come out with any specific guidance in response to the RSHE guidance, because that would be really helpful to have that before we produced any further documents. We haven't seen anything yet or heard of anything yet, but if anybody knows anything, please do let us know.
Yeah, and we can support with that, can't we? Absolutely. To the person that said, can you contact for individual support and guidance for your school? Absolutely, that's what we're here for. So again, the best starting point is to contact school support at jigsawEducationGroup.com. And then depending on what the needs are, they can either support you as they do with hundreds, if not thousands of schools every day. But if it's a more kind of technical kind of question, then Sarah also can respond and provide support too. We've just shown where the parent presentation is. And Sarah just showed you where you can find the content changes for each year group. So that's the document that she was just modeling for you on the screen there. Thanks so much for joining us. I've just
seen the question, is there a presentation for secondary parents? We've got our webinar in a couple of days for secondary for the 11-16 materials, but there is one coming, I think.
Will there be specific lessons that parents can opt out of as previously?
So the guidance in that respect hasn't changed. Everything, the relationships content is statutory, the health education content is statutory, and sex education is non-statutory. So schools have a choice whether they teach it or not. And if they do teach it, parents can withdraw their children from the non-statutory sex education in RSHE. So that's taught through PSHE, but not if you're teaching human reproduction in science. So that hasn't changed. But what has changed is that it's been a bit clearer and a bit more explicit about what puberty is. So, the approach hasn't changed, but there is a little bit more clarity in it.
Will there be alternative lessons provided for classes that have schools that have opted out? So we obviously have alternative lessons.
It's only two lessons. It's now only two lessons. So one in year 5 and one in year 6. There aren't alternative lessons. However, there are lots of other lessons on Jigsaw Plus around puberty for year 5 and year 6, which I suspect are quite difficult for people to fit in. So although we haven't provided an absolute alternative there is other content that absolutely could be used in its place.
Do you have any example pupil voice questions available for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2?
We don't have a long list of example questions, but if you go onto Jigsaw Plus, there is a section on pupil voice with some guidance about how you might want to do that, and just sort of broadening out our understanding of what we mean about pupil voice. That it's not just about. I know it's not about questionnaires, what I'm saying, but it's kind of got that broader content in there. So I would start and have a look there.
What is RKR, CF, and GW standards?
That's our abbreviations, although I completely forgot the name of one of them during my slides back then. RKR is CF is caring friendships. It is laid out in the guidance exactly what it is, and I'm now having a complete blank. They are abbreviations of the names of the standards the DfE uses. So respectful.
Kind relationships.
Yes, I think that's it. And then there's family and people who care for me, which is a very long one to
Caring
abbreviate.
families, I think, would be.
Caring friendships, that one.
Oh, caring friendships.
Yes. So it
It's
should all
all
be in
clear
those
on the mapping
documents.
document. It's
Yeah.
just a way of, yeah.
I think people are just testing me at this stage of the
Note
game.
to self, like, yeah, we must avoid acronyms. How can we now add our own slides? Do you want?
At the moment, you can't add completely new slides, but you can make changes. So you can put new text on for the text side, and you can upload your own images onto the slides in place of ones that are there. I mean, if you really feel that you would like there's a particular lesson where you think it would really suit an extra slide, we could look at putting some extra blank slides in. But unfortunately, we can't just, it's a technical thing. I don't ask me too much, but we can't
We
just
are
put them in all over the
absolutely,
place.
yeah, we are absolutely looking at that. We know it's something that would be really
Yeah.
valuable. So we are actively working on being able to provide more flexibility for you all in that regard. So yeah, watch this space. For any new content which is statutory, like misogyny, safeguarding, pupil safety, etc., is there a document detailing exactly where this is taught for which year groups and in which term, please? Yes, there is. That's the document you were just showing, right?
Yes, there is. I mean, misogyny isn't something which is statutory to teach from the RSHE guidance for primary schools, but of course, we've got lots of content that is relevant and is about getting some of that the basic information and attitudes and looking at those in primary. But yes, so when I think the safeguarding map will probably be, some of those are safeguarding aspects and some of them are RSHE. But yeah, the RSHE mapping really clearly lays it out.
Yes, we will be sending the slides out along with the recording afterwards. At the moment, we have to teach Jigsaw as a 2-year cycle as we have 3 mixed classes in each key stage. Is there any scope for having, oh, well, we already talked about this, the mixed age years planning, didn't we? So hopefully that helped with that. Oh, some lovely comments in the chat. Thank you, everybody.
There's a lot of questions about SEND. We haven't got any specific SEND content at the moment, but again, this is another area that we are looking at, and we've got a sort of a team looking at that area. One thing I will say with the primary materials, we do try and keep our slides as simple as possible intentionally, so that you can make a lot of those adaptations as are appropriate. But we will continue to look at how we can support you in that, but we don't have anything right now that is ready.
Sorry, I'm just reading through questions. So we've already answered
I'm
the question.
impressed that people still here, to be honest.
Church of England. I think do we have a document which defines the difference between PSHE and RSE or RSHE?
No, but we do have the document which says what schools have to teach for statutory RSHE. The difficulty is, so I know sometimes people say, well, exactly what is statutory RSHE and what isn't in the lessons, but there is lots of content around teaching RSHE that is broader PSHE that supports it. You know, when we look at like Dreams of Goals is a great example. There's quite a lot in there about achieving goals and steps to success. It's not statutory RSHE, but it clearly has a large contribution towards it. So you can't always totally separate those things out.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just reading through all the questions, making sure we've got everything. Yes, you've answered the questions about SEN, haven't you? Printer. If you want to print, you can the teacher notes. You can do Control P, and then you can print the teacher notes. That is functionality that we are actively looking at as well. Oh, Jigsaw rocks. That's a nice one to end on. I think we've answered all the questions. If we have missed your question, please just pop it in the chat for us now. Um, oh, we've got one on the snapshot document. Is the lesson in italics the sex ed lessons?
I expect so. Again, we did the snapshot before Christmas, and
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember myself. I mean, there are
I'll
only
have a
two
quick look.
sex ed lessons, right, as you've just said. So, there's one in year 5 and one in year 6.
See,
So,
there's another question. I'll have a quick look.
is sending the knowledge I organises to parents for each topic sufficient in informing them of content and giving them the opportunity to opt out?
I think we'll talk about it. I think it the rate depends on your school and your policy and all different what it's using about existing systems. I think we'll come along to the next
Well, yeah, come along
webinar
to the
on it.
next. We were going to really deep dive on all of this then, and we'll have had more of a chance to develop some other supporting materials by then as well. So please do sign up to that webinar in March when we will.
Yes, the ones in italics are sex ed. Well done,
Yes,
well
the ones in
spotted.
italics are sex ed. Uh, Again, there was another question on, yeah, what do we share with parents when consulting? How much depth? So again, I would really recommend you come to that webinar and we can go through it. Also, look at that parent presentation and look at the modeled example of that parent presentation as well, because it will give you a sense of like what we would be kind of modeling, yeah, recommending. Um,
I've seen there are quite a few questions about whether all material, what depth of sharing of materials needs to happen with parents as well. So the your policy needs to have an overview of the topics, which is why the snapshot should really be enough. And then what is recommended is that you share with parents a representative
parent access.
example. So you can use the parent access, you can use a parents meeting to do that. But as has always been the case for Jigsaw, please, you can invite parents in to look at absolutely anything to do with the materials in your school. And that is for many reasons, it's just a better way of explaining what's there and why and how it might look in your school. But it's too much. It would be too much, but the parent access shares a huge amount with parents as it is.
Yeah, and a couple of questions about secondary as well. So, if you're a through school, do we have the same presentation for parents for secondary as well? Yes, we do. It isn't on the portal as yet. It will be coming a little bit later. It is due in February. And maybe you're coming to the secondary webinar tomorrow night as well, back-to-back sessions. You're obviously very welcome. But yeah, that is coming. It is just yeah, going to be here in February instead. I'm not sure, Louise, what you meant by when is it? Is
There's a
it
question.
the webinar maybe in March? If you go onto our website, jigsawedukationgroup.com, and go to the Knowledge Hub, go to webinars, you'll be able to see the dates of and sign up.
Another question about parent access. Again, actually, I can, I'll just quickly show it. It's probably as
Yeah, I
easy.
think you did actually kind of flash it up earlier.
If I can just remember how to share my screen. We all know how technologically advanced I am at this time of the day. Here we go. So again, if you're through school, it's very similar for secondary, but certainly for parent access, there is a section in the parent carer section to show you where it is explaining it. So if you go into it and you look down here on the left-hand side, there is a bit here that explains how parent access works. But essentially, it's very straightforward. You can just go in. Now we haven't got many people on. I'm going to go into year 5. I'm going to what we are in dreams and goals now. So it works alongside. It's not the whole program at once. It's sort of during or just before each puzzle. So they actually see the most up-to-date materials. And what happens is you come down here and there's this parent access button. And if you click on that, it will show you how, it will talk you through what you need to do. I'm not going to go through all of it now. But if you go down to the bottom, you can request an access code. It will give you a special code to share with parents. And you share it with parents, and then they will be able to see those same, they will be able to see all of the teaching materials and the slide notes, all the slides and the slide notes for that puzzle. So they're able to see what their child is being taught at that time. But again, talk to school support if you'd like to be talked through how that works. But have a look, and it might be enough there that once you have a look, you'll see where it is. I know there's a lot to take on.
A link to that. When will parent access be available for Healthy Me?
It's I haven't got the date off the top of my head. It's usually 2 weeks before the beginning. Usually 2 weeks before.
Yeah, that will be in 2 weeks' time, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? No.